All right, all right, all right. Answers by Guess. What up there, Guess?
What's up, everybody? What's up, Rob?
Hello, friend. How are you?
We're doing well. I gotta say, you look good. We're trading spaces this year. I'm a little fatter. You're looking nice and trim. So,
Trying to stay a little bit more fit these days, but you look
and
fantastic, bud.
I'm doing the opposite.
Feed me, Seymour.
Months out of the year at this point in my life, and that's whatever.
All right, guys. Remember, always like us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Patreon. Always look for those hashtags, Answers by Guess and ABGFF. So, what we're going to be doing is the AFC East Preview, which those teams are Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, my New York Jets. So, I can't wait to talk about them a little bit, and the New England Patriots. We're
Yeah.
doing something a little different, though. Do you want to talk about your segment?
Well, I mean, before we even really talk about the segment, I mean, this is the first of 8. Obviously, right? We're going to do
Correct.
each division. So watch for them to pop up just like this one popped up out of nowhere. So keep your eyes peeled. It'll be posted on YouTube and Facebook, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
And
so,
I'm actually going to add one. I am going to be doing the recording as well. I'm creating a Spotify account for Answers by Guest. So, say if you can't watch the video,
oh, you
we
can
are going to
listen.
be doing listening this
Very
year.
nice.
So, that's going
So
to be the big one. That's going to be one of the big
beautiful.
changes.
Yeah, so this is something we're going to do rather than a long 2 hour preview show. Do about 10-minute videos for each division and just run down.
Rundown. Da da da. 5 guys for your eyes.
So you can strive for the prize. Because
Ooh.
that's what it's about, right? We want to get that chip, we want to get that cheddar. So we can get going.
I love it. All right. First one on your list, or actually the fifth one we'll go with.
Yeah, countdown. Yeah, so if you never watched this, I guess, season 7 for us, we are the inside scoop from outside the box. We're not going to talk to you about typically about the guys everybody's talking about. So the preseason, everybody's talking about the big names. So what more fitting than to give 5 guys for your eyes that you may not be looking at or thinking about or hearing about? So we're starting right off with Trent Sherfield. We know he played for Miami last year. He was their third wide receiver. Tua, and when it was Teddy, they only threw to 2 guys. Every once in a while, Trent Sherfield would bust a big play. The Bills been looking for that third wide receiver. They had Shakir in there a little bit last year. They tried it with Crowder. They were trying things out for a point in time, and they just couldn't find it. And now you got the situation with Stephon Diggs, who he's not happy, and he's not, participating to the level that he should be. So Trent Sherfield stepping in, Josh Allen's talking him up. I made this list. We discussed this a couple weeks ago,
Yep.
and just Rob's life's busy, my life's busy. We had our third baby. He's a month and a half old at this point. So,
Congrats.
I got a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, and a month and a half-year-old, and they're driving us nuts. And Rob's got his thing going on with his twins and his job and everything else. So, made this a couple weeks ago. Since then, Josh Allen's come out and said that he's been working his butt off and he's really impressed with Trent Sherfield. He was undrafted years ago, um, bounced around a little bit, wound up in Miami, did a couple things. He's someone you should be looking at. Put his name somewhere late in the list. I mean, there's 5 guys for your eyes. It's going to be similar to, if you haven't checked out the other video that I dropped about a month or so ago, the 4 guys in new places. Check that out. Same sort of thing. Guys you're going to be able to get relatively late.
All right, number 4 on the countdown. Go ahead, sir. I can't
Yeah,
say his name, so I'm gonna let you say it because I forgot
yeah.
already.
So again, we made this list. I made this list a couple weeks ago. Devon A Chain,
A chain.
and so there's already talks. The A Chain, A Train, type of thing. But this was before Dalvin Cook was released, and I said to Rob, I think Miami's going to get him, and it sort of seems like it's going to be Miami or the Jets at this point in time.
I think
So
it's all based on Brees Hall, bud.
yeah, I know. And Carter's still there, and he's fine as a number 2 as well. But the thing is, if Cook goes there, throw this name out the window for this season. Dynasty still want to grab him. But Devon A-Chain, the rookie coming in, he's the third best rookie running back behind the big two. The dude, was it Wims, right, for Detroit, and Bijan Robinson for Atlanta. So he's behind Mostert, who always gets hurt. He's behind Jeff Wilson, who always gets hurt. And that's it. So this is somebody you could pluck very late in your draft, just stash them on your bench 4 or 5 weeks and just see what happens. Wait for one of those guys to go down. They're going to want to run the ball some, take a little bit off of Tua's plate. So it's a name that people probably maybe are looking at a little more than Trent Sherfield, but he's a guy for your eye, that's for sure.
All right, and Gibbs was the one on Detroit, not Wims.
Gibbs, yeah.
All right.
Thinking about my favorite rapper, Mims.
All right, number 3, Mr. Tyquan Thornton that we saw last year a little bit. It's interesting.
Yeah, he was really hyped up in the beginning of the year and really did nothing. I mean, he had Mac go out. Zappy came in, was good for a game and a half, and he went out. Mac Jones played really good towards the end of the season. It was really under the radar. I'm thinking he's going to have a really nice, solid year. A QB2 or super flex league. He's somebody you can get really late. And he's got a bunch of new weapons. We talked about Gesicki coming in there. They're going to be running the 2 tight ends. But they got like Devontae Parker, Juju Smith-Schuster, like these old dudes. Tyquan Thornton is somebody who had, the big buzz last year, a lot of hype, did really relatively nothing. But I think this year is going to be a nice big splash for Tyquan Thornton. So he's somebody that you are going to want to remember and keep your eye on. And it's Thornton, I believe, Thorn.
Oh, I missed an N. Oops.
It's okay, though.
All right. He did show up a little at the end of last year. I mean, you're right. He did come in with major hype, we thought. But, I mean, he was just, again, underwhelming. Yeah, but like you said, Mac Jones did come on at the end, and that's who he was throwing it to. That's between him and Bourne, that's where he was looking. Yeah. You would thought Parker would get the ball more, but, yeah, it seemed to be Thornton. All right. Whoa, number 2, Mr. Mims from the Jets.
And here's my reasoning.
All right, I'm listening.
I think he goes somewhere else.
Ooh.
I think he goes somewhere else. And if he goes somewhere else, I think he'll finally get a chance to play and shows what he's got. And worst case scenario, if he doesn't, I mean, look at the guys he's got in front of him. Corey Davis. Randall Cobb's playing on his last leg. Alan Lazard, I love him if you watched us for the first 6 seasons. But he's been a little injury prone too. And Mims is that good slot guy. He's going to have Wilson. And I just feel like Mims is going to finally, with a good quarterback in New York. They have never had one. Say whatever you want about Mike White. Come on. Zach Wilson got thrown under the bus. But I like Mims as a late stash because if you're drafting somewhere in early August, late July, and he ends up getting moved, you could hit a gold mine if he goes to a team that needs a wide receiver. So he's somebody to not. He was a 2nd round draft pick, I believe.
Yeah, he was. He was high in the 2nd round too.
So he is somebody to keep your eye on. He finally has a quarterback, and if he goes somewhere else, he's probably going to finally have a quarterback.
Houston seems to make the most sense to me. Try to get something from Houston. Obviously, they're in rebuild mode. Give Strong something else. Mims is a big dude, man. He is a big dude.
Elijah Moore's gone. So it just opens up another spot. So even with the other guys they brought in and Davis still there, I don't think it matters. I mean, I could see Wilson, Lazard, and Mims being the 3.
Yeah. It doesn't guarantee Corey Davis just because he's making the money. It would be interesting is if they can get him traded before the season starts, and then that really comes to fruition. Mm-hmm. All right, number 1 on your list, rookie tight end.
I know.
What about Knox? He signed that huge contract.
I'm so glad you said that about rookie tight ends because, and that's why I put him at number 1. I mean, if you watched us for 6 years, he hasn't been in the league for 6 years. Buffalo doesn't like Knox. Knox was never supposed to be a thing. 2 years ago, he became a thing. And last year was subpar. And we sort of saw that coming. We said that was coming. And they've constantly been looking for somebody to fill the role because for whatever reason, I mean, they like him, but they don't like him. And if they liked him, they wouldn't have drafted this dude. And the whole thing going on that I talked about with Trent Sherfield before, with Diggs and that whole situation. I see a nice situation for Dalton Kincaid here as a rookie. Again, these are 5 guys for your eyes. We're the inside scoop from outside the box. We're not going to tell you the guys everybody's looking at. We know it's a tight end. We know he's a rookie, but I think once the season gets going, I think he's going to be a pretty solid tight end on your bench on the team.
I could see it happening, man. The only thing I could say that throws a wrench in that system is if Hopkins goes to the Bills, just because then it gives Diggs the person that he's looking for, then he'll be happy, and that can kind of throw a wrench in there. But Hopkins, who knows where he's going? That's a totally different story and a totally different video. So,
can I give a quick guess about him?
Sure.
I think your 1B is going to get him. Minnesota.
Ooh.
I know they drafted Addison.
I like Addison too.
And KJ Osborne might be on my 5 guys to keep your eyes, but people sort of know who he is. But I could see him going on the other side of Justin Jefferson, continuing to play on the turf where he's comfortable, where he's pretty much played his whole career.
Yeah.
And he doesn't
Cousins needs people to throw to, man.
He doesn't have to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson's the guy. He's just that other guy.
Ooh,
and I kind of, they got rid of Dalvin Cook. They freed up some cap space. I think Minnesota Vikings is the dark horse for DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to make that call right now.
January if that 6th, happens, you know what jersey I'm getting, right?
I know.
All right. We added a little something. I'm going to be throwing out a raw bonus person, not just 5 guys, but a raw bonus. I'm going a little outside of the box here because I don't think he's going to get a lot of targets, but it's in that same tight end realm. I think Uzuma is going to have a year. And let me explain why. Obviously, we know Aaron Rodgers came to the Jets. We're not going to talk about that because we don't talk about that kind of stuff. That'll be another video, like we said. But anyways, who has Rodgers always relied on in the red zone when he had a tight end? Jermichael Finley, Mercedes Lewis, Jimmy Graham, Jared Cook,
Bobby
Tunyon. It really fits the mold. Whenever you see Rodgers, you see CJ. All the pictures that are in New York, being on Broadway, who's right next to him? Who's in that same group with him? CJ. I know they have Conklin. They have that kid Rucker or whatever his name is.
They drafted him last year, right?
Jeremy, Rucker. Yeah. I really think that when he's in a tough spot and he needs to be able to make a play, CJ is going to be that guy. And we know what tight ends are. What are you getting? 7 to 10 points? You're hoping for 7 to 10 points.
Yeah, 30 yards, 3-4 catches.
I think he has 3 or 4 targets a game. He goes for about 20 to 30 yards, and that touchdown is going to be relevant, especially this year with tight ends.
I think that's a good call. See, and also people don't know this. I don't know the Robonis.
Ooh, yes. It is a surprise to him as well.
Rob knows my 5 guys for your eyes, but I don't know the Robonis, and we purposefully did that. I don't want to know. So a good call. I like that you went tight end there because we're always looking for somebody. Right?
Especially tight end, man. Running backs and tight ends at the end of the year, they're always a mystery.
Right. Well, we're closing in on 15 minutes. We want to try and keep it to 10, but we had a bit of an intro, so hopefully you watched it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you keep your eyes peeled. Answers by Guest Season 7 will be starting soon. Just a little bit of a appetizer for you.
Oh, yeah. Always remember, guys, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Patreon. Also, I'll be adding on to here. Hopefully, Spotify is the goal is to get on to. So we may do other platforms as well for the actual recordings themselves, but Spotify will probably be number 1. Always look for those hashtags, Answers by Guest, and ABGFF. And we'll be back soon.
See you.
All right. Peace.